Evening guys, this is Brian again. New edition of Hats and Guitars. Hadn't been on here for a while because frankly I ran out of stuff to review. But got a new one for you guys tonight. This is not actually mine. I would love to own this someday, and maybe I can work out a deal sometime with my friend who let me borrow it. But buddy at work owns this. This looks like a Les Paul. It's a Les Paul shape. It's a Les Paul copy, essentially, is what it is. It's from that lawsuit era. Back in the 1970s, a bunch of Japanese companies were making spot-on reproductions of mostly Gibson guitars. I think there were a few in there also doing, Fender, but mostly Gibson's what they were going after. And a lot of scenarios, the Japanese companies were actually making better versions of what Gibson was putting out at that time. This is one of those such copies. It's kind of this is from the 1970s. It's a cherry sunburst Les Paul copy by the company I was not familiar with, but it says Masada on the headstock there. And I would liken this to a lot of Aria or Electra Gibson copies of that era that I've tried. It's very similar quality. Main difference between this and Gibson Les Paul, bolt-on neck back here. So instead of the glued-in neck, you got the bolt-on, which some people actually prefer that. But what I will say about this guitar, for as old as this is, it has very little damage to it. Appears like it was hardly ever played any. Got just a couple little bit of nicks and scrapes on the top and on the back, but the neck is on almost perfect condition. This is just a very clean copy of 1970s Americana. And this one actually, now it's got, I don't know if you can see it here, but it's got a little screw right there and a screw on the bottom of it. This was meant to have one of those Les Paul pick guards that goes on it. Excuse me. It no longer has that with it, which if a person was ever going to get this back to original, those are easy enough to come by. You can find them at like a Guitar Center or most music stores. They're like $10, something like that. But it would probably be a cream colored pick guard that would go right about here, just give you a little bit extra protection on the body. Now, a lot of people prefer it like this. I myself like that Les Paul pick guard, although on this model, with the color it is, and especially the cream colored pickups, which you don't see those very much on any Les Paul guitar unless you bought custom pickups and put them in yourself. With the cream colored pickups and the color scheme of the guitar, I think it kind of looks pretty good without it. Usually, I wouldn't say it looked very good on most Les Pauls, but this one it does. And of course, Slash, he's very well known for taking all the pick guards off of his. So, if it's worked for him, it probably can't go wrong for most people. Anywho, enough about that. I wish I could tell you more about it. Don't know exactly what year it was. It is I have had the back off of it though. This is not a plywood body. It's solid wood. Don't know what species, but it's a few different that have been sandwiched together, but it's in pieces, not like if it was plywood, it'd be thin sheets of some mystery wood. They're just stacked on top of each other and glued. No, this has been cut into individual pieces, and you have like a veneer top up here and a veneer on the back, and then you've got your solid wood core in between. Pretty nice guitar. I can't find anything wrong with it. These things really do pretty good all over the range tonally. Of course, being an electric guitar, and especially a Les Paul copy anyway, these things are really made, you know, to rock out on. So we'll go ahead and play some distortion. All right. So let's see here. Okay, sorry about that. Just had to find my finger in real quick. So I'm gonna play try and play a little bit of riff on here that's something a little bit funky, I guess. Got a little bit of reverb going there. And let's see. Try just a little bit of solo something or another. Yeah, that little guitar just sings. It really does. But I don't know. I did a little bit of research on the internet. I think I found one picture and one little bit of information about Masada Les Paul copies. They apparently very hard to come across, so this is another one of those. It's a little bit of a rare bird. If you see one, they're probably not very expensive. My buddy paid about $3 for this, and that sure is a whole lot better deal than trying to buy a Gibson Les Paul if you can't swing that. And in my opinion, this is actually even better than an Epiphone Les Paul, which a lot of those are made in Indonesia or China. Not quite as good a quality as they used to be. This is made in Japan, and a lot of those guitars that came out in the 70s from Japan are superior instruments. You can read all over the internet about them. Why these have not gone up in value, I do not know. But a lot of these Japan guitars you can get for, you know, anywhere from $200 to $500. Seems to be the going rate. And if you're just looking for like a daily player, something that you could take to a club or some venue with you and not worry about it getting, if it did get stolen or if it did get broke, you're not out a ton of money. These things do the deal, so I highly recommend them. And that's it for this edition of Hats and Guitars. It's been a long time. Maybe I'll get to borrow some more here to do some more shows, but I'm out of my inventory at the moment. Let's see, tonight's hat. This is a Artel, kind of a wool tweed hat, more of a winter. And for those of you that are from Berryville, my old stomping grounds, this actually came out of the old Carr's dry goods store when Mr. Carr was closing down the store. Went in there like a couple days before. I just had like $10 with me and was wanting to see what I could secure, and this is one of the finds. I think this thing cost me about $1, and it's probably been sitting in his store for about 40 or 50 years, so just back there in a little stand. But those of you that remember cars, you know what I'm talking about. The thing was like a labyrinth. There was stuff in there that nobody had seen for years and years, and if you found it with a price tag on it, you could buy it. So anyway, a little bit more information about hats than I usually give on these, but that's it for tonight. So this is the Masada Les Paul copy. If you see one of these, pick it up. Thanks, guys. Have fun.